Come vape with me. I've just been outside with the dog on a walk up to town. I live in a tiny village. We call it the Big Smoke. But I went protected. I had a raincoat on. It's very cold outside, so I had my body thing on, and I've got a hat on because it looks as if it's going to rain. So I've practiced the precautionary principle this morning when I went out with hat, raincoat and woolly in case of bad circumstances. And so this movie I want to talk about bad circumstances. The bad circumstances I want to talk about are the explosions of batteries, and I've just recently read a report of somebody who left their battery in their computer on a charging USB charger, and it exploded, and it caused a house fire. And there are photographs of the internet of the sofa on which the laptop was put with this in the USB port. So I want to talk about safety for charging batteries. For years I have been safely, I think, charging batteries. My favorite way to charge batteries is on this plug in the wall with a USB cable plugged into it, and that in a tin attached to my battery. Let me see if you can see it like that. So there's my tin. That goes in the wall. The cord goes into the tin with battery on, and then I simply, flip the lid over, so in fact there's only a tiny hole that allows for the wire to come through. So that is my favorite tin, Cutter's Choice, which was the tobacco that I hand rolled for many years. So that is one way of doing it. Another way is to use something that is ceramic or porcelain, and that would work the same way with this little tray underneath and the lid on, which would allow your cable just to lift the lid very slightly. And it's hard, it's inflammable, and to a good degree the almost closing of the lid might cut off the oxygen supply to anything burning. I do have battery chargers. This one is my favorite, and that has already got a lid and it's got safety features to it, so that for the batteries you use in mods is a really safe way to charge batteries. If you have neither tin nor ceramic dish that you could use to charge off a cable like that, plugged into a plug in the wall, if you use that kind of USB connection on your computer, be there so that you can avert any problems that might be happening. The battery might smell funny. It would get very hot. Even when you're vaping, if your battery ever gets very hot, get rid of it fast. Chuck it outside. I once said drop it down the loo, but I believe that isn't evidently the solution, though I don't know why. I'll find out. But anything to stop it exploding. Occasionally with tanks you will feel the tank heating up if you overuse it. Well, the secret to that is have two devices, and you vape off one tank, and when it's overworked you can feel it, and you switch to another tank, so that you need to pace out how heavily you're actually using your tanks as well. So here's a solution for somebody who's really got nothing at all, no tins, no ceramic pot in which to charge their batteries. What about a baking tin? These are very cheap and available anywhere. That plugged into the wall with your cable inside attached to your battery would stop any burning happening from underneath. Though I prefer the tin method because in actual fact with the lid down or with the ceramic lid on top of the base with the battery charging inside, it would slow down the amount of oxygen in the tray. And one last thing, upstairs in my house I've got a whole charging trolley. It's actually just a cheap plastic trolley, and on it the first thing I have is this. Let me show it to you. It's a glass tray. In fact, you could use something that's come out of a fridge. I'm not sure, I think this is a chopping tray, but it's very thick safety glass. Upstairs, when I'm charging my batteries, I might have several on different chargers, all charging up in tins or not in tins, but they're all lying on that glass, a thick glass protective layer. So if a fire starts, it is on the glass and not on the wooden or plastic or upholstery or any other burnable item. So like I wore my hat and my raincoat and my woolly body jacket, we need to think ahead. We need to think, how are we going to charge our stuff safely so that we do not have awful stories in the media about another battery exploding. In actual fact, batteries explode all the time. Up here recently, where I live, we had a kid with a BlackBerry on his bed. I've got a BlackBerry, exactly the same design, and it suddenly exploded. The battery in it suddenly exploded. I've heard stories of smoke alarm batteries exploding. Computer batteries can explode. So all batteries can explode, even torch batteries. And as PVs are simply glorified torches, basically, we need to be careful of how we charge them, because the most problems seem to occur when they're attached to a charging device. Thanks for vaping with me.